Hey guys, it's Arjun. Welcome back to another video. Um, today, today I want to really talk about more about my connection with certain films. Um, I recently had uploaded a video where I talked about self-worth, what I've seen, what I understand about self-worth. And I brought up Interstellar and Succession. And having brought up those two, I it sort of inspired me to sort of talk more about storytelling and films and how they have changed my life, or how they have inspired me, or how I viewed them, and how it just sort of opened the ways I think. And there's so many films, I mean, that have done it. And I'm a big comic guy, and for me, the big one was Batman. I mean, Christopher Nolan's Batman films changed my life, absolutely. And I want to talk a bit about Batman Begins because I haven't been watching a lot of movies. I've been really busy with a lot of stuff, but I watched Batman Begins last week, and that film is just, I think it's one of Christopher Nolan's most underrated films. It has brilliant dialogue. It's super well made, and the type of movie that it is, it's surprising that it came out in 2005. Just really surprising. And I absolutely love the film. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Easily one of my favorite Batman films. And yeah, I mean, I really want to just talk about how what I learned from that film. And a lot of my videos recently were tackling the whole idea of feeling lost, how we feel in life. Sometimes we feel like we're stuck in the mud, and we're trying to keep moving forward, but we're just not going anywhere. And I think that's exactly where Bruce is in the beginning. Um Bruce Bruce is such a, complex character in general. I'm not just saying from in the movie, but I love where we start off with them. We don't start off with seeing Batman just Batmaning, doing Batman stuff. We see Bruce Wayne, a man who is far, far away from home in a foreign country, lost. Like spiritually and a little bit physically. He's lost. He lacks purpose. He has no idea what he's doing. He's sort of just free roaming. And then comes Ducard, who is later revealed to be Ra's al Ghul, who tells him that he can give Bruce meaning. And Bruce is then told to get this flower, go up to the mountain, and there at the mountain, he is going to give the flower and be given a path, purpose. Bruce had a reason to go. He saw what was in front of him. Again, that was another video I had made where we're sort of just doing what's in front of us, just working with what we have, what we can do, and just going with it. And for me, that's something oh my God, I always struggled with. And watching Batman Begins, like, I always forget that part that, oh my God, Bruce is lost in the beginning. And I just get that in my head that, oh, he is lost because he knows what he wants to do but doesn't know where to go. So he is completely in a state of surrender. He has literally surrendered to the universe. He wants to rid Gotham of its criminal, whatever's happening there. And Bruce chooses to experience the criminal underworld and stuff. Understands stealing, how he has to steal in order to feed himself, as well as the thrill of it. He's literally getting the head of a criminal as he's, away from home. And he he also got inspired to do it because of what happened with Falcone. What Falcone told him, how, you know, Bruce, you're just a Boy Scout. You're nothing but the Prince of Gotham, You don't understand how any of this works, and don't act like you own the place and you know what you're doing and stuff and all. And it's very, very, very interesting. It's so such a well done movie, so well made. And Chris Nolan, he went to university for English, so I won't be to study English literature. So I won't be surprised if he came across Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero of a Thousand Faces, which I'm currently reading right now, which tackles a lot about this spiritual aspect stuff. I mean, it's talking about how the structure of the hero's journey and how that has literally been literally reinforced in all sorts of mythologies and religions across the world. And it's amazing. It's a story that prevails since, the beginning of time, and that even exists in our own lives today. The point of no return, the false victory, the I mean, what's the big one? Refusal of the call. I'm on that chapter right now, so I'm early on in the book. So refusal of the call. That was one that really sat with me. I mean, what I love about this book is I'll read like 2 pages, and then I'll talk about it for 2 hours with my mom, and we'll just talk about it like what's happening in the book. And if you don't know exactly, search it up. But like there's structures to storytelling, and usually once the character something throws the character into its journey, they end up usually trying to refuse their call instinctively. This is maybe like, I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, I feel like something should come to mind. I think a good one, the best one I can say, clearly, which I think most of you have seen, is Spider-Man, the first Tobey Maguire film, where Peter gets his powers. That's his inciting incident. But then once he gets his powers, instead of doing good with it, he decides to do wrestling. And he sort of refuses the call until Uncle Ben is killed by the man he allowed to escape, which is what pushes him into becoming Spider Man, a hero, a force of good. So back to Batman Begins. We're sort of following Bruce, who's going down this whole path of the refusal of the call. How the film is structured, it's not a very linear story in the first half. We're jumping between past and present, and you could technically say in that structure, Bruce's refusal of the call is when he chose to um, attempt to kill Joe Chill. That would be his refusal of the call, not letting justice play its role, and instead take literally become judge, jury, executioner. And that was Bruce's refusal of the call. And when he admits to Rachel, that's what throws him onto his journey when when he chooses to flee Gotham and explore the criminal underworld. Now, when I was watching that and I see Bruce get to that level and he ends up surrendering, and he ends up being around the people who are literally ready to reinforce his same ideas. They want to rid crime of the world. The people I'm talking about is the League of Shadows, Ra's al Ghul, Deckard, and they're talking about, where our role is eradicate evil. That is our role. Eradicate the criminal mind, and you know deliver true justice. And Bruce is all for it. Bruce is like, oh yeah, let's do it. He's training, and Deckard. I'm just gonna refer to him as Roz, Liam Neeson's character, Roz. He he acknowledges Bruce. He's like, oh dude, you did it. You are like insanely. You have done it well. You have become the best assassin here. We want you to lead our men to their next mission. And Bruce is like, okay, cool. Where would that be? Gotham. And Bruce is like, whoa, Gotham? You're saying my home Gotham? Like city I'm from? And they're like, yeah, they're like, you're the Prince of Gotham. They're going to welcome you in open arms. So we're going to place you in Gotham, ideally. And then you're going to let us play out what we need to do. And Bruce is like, nah, I don't know. I don't know if I should do that and stuff, right? And then they're like, no, no, you should. And Bruce is like, and then they're like, oh wait, by the way, you need. Actually, I skipped over a part. Bruce also has to kill a farmer who killed his neighbor in order to steal his land. He's like, you need to kill this farmer first, though. Bruce is like, no, I don't kill him. And instantly that creates conflict. And then all of a sudden, Bruce blows up the whole place. He fights all of them and kills the fake Ra's al Ghul and saves the card and goes back to Gotham with the teachings and understanding of the League of Shadows, except that one crucial element. This goes back to sort of like how the journey of life really is. A lot of us think that, at least from my experience, when I was a kid, it was always baffling to me to see, um, you know, like people accommodating other people who weren't right for them, who were rude, who were obnoxious, who were assholes. And when I would ask them, why do you accommodate this person? Why don't you just, leave? They're like, oh, but they did so much for me. They did this, they did that. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense and all right. But it's like, you know, for example, I've grown up with a lot of my friends, and a lot of them I still talk to this day, especially my longest friends in my life, I still talk to this day. But sometimes I feel like I have an obligation to maintain that friendship because I owe that, because I grew up with them, because they were there for me as I was there for them. And it's not saying about backstabbing or anything like that, because that is wrong. People who do that, they're pathetic. Everyone knows that. Backstabbers, no, they're pathetic. But in this case, what I'm trying to really say is like sometimes we sort of outgrow people, or we start thinking differently to people. Maybe we went on a maybe we didn't talk to one of our good friends in 6 months, 8 months, and those 6 8 months, maybe you were working in your job nonstop, and you met new people, or you met new friends, or your ideals changed. Let's not even talk about new friends, because let's talk about your ideals, because that's really the root of it. Your ideals changed, your morals changed, whatever it is. And you sort of have this obligation, like, oh, I should go back to them. I should go back to them. Like Bruce feels with the league, like, I'm part of the league now. Yes, I'm going to lead you guys. Yes. But something doesn't sit right. And you're sort of like, wait, do I want to really continue moving? Do I want to continue moving in the same direction as them? Am I really wanting to walk that same path? Am I thinking the same way? Does this make sense for me? And in my opinion, what's happened with me in my life is a lot of the stuff I say is stuff that I've talked about, have done, and have noticed a difference in. And for me, knowing, like, you learned something from someone's experience with them, but that doesn't mean that you have to be with them for the rest of your life. I have many people I know who I learned a lot from, a lot, but they're no longer in my life. Just because life, life plays out in different ways. And I don't, I didn't end up continuing our relationship, but I took on those lessons with me. I didn't take on what was bad about that, because whatever bad experiences I have in life, with those bad experiences, this is what someone had once told me, and it sits with me really well. It sits with me a lot, and I repeat it a lot to my head. The bad experiences we have in life, we can either throw it in the trash bin within us and, feel horrible about it, or we can take it as a lesson and put it in our toolbox. Bad or good, whatever happens in your life, there is always something to learn from it, something to always overcome. And I guess connecting that with Batman Begins is Bruce's story. Bruce in Batman Begins is it's like it starts off with the murder of his parents, which then turns him into a someone who's really excited to kill Joe Chill when the time comes, and then when Chill dies, he's all of a sudden lost. He doesn't know what to do. He's um, sort of on this free flow of life, and he lets life take him. And the moment he feels lost, where he surrenders, where I've been, where was not doing anything in my life, someone shows up, something comes up, and it pulls me sort of out of that, and I'm learning these new things and all that. But then wait, it's like, okay, you learned with these people, now it's time to move on. So things may happen, things may go down, like with Bruce. He ended up, you know, disagreeing with the League of Shadows, and chaos erupted, and Bruce flees and runs away, runs back to Gotham. Now Bruce is back in Gotham. Usually that's what happens. You're with these big group of people, you're growing with them, learning all this stuff. Let's say university, you're growing with all these people, you're learning the same things. You guys are all becoming skilled and experienced. And then all of a sudden you guys have to go your different ways. Now this may just be graduation and you guys sort of just disconnect naturally, or it can be a situation. Someone showed their true colors. A disagreement happened, an argument, whatever it may be. That again, my experiences. This is all from whatever I'm saying. I'm not saying if this happened to you, it's specifically that. This is simply what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, when that usually happens, where in my life where people I end up having an argument or a disagreement with someone, it often leads to something else. And that's what happened with Bruce. He ends up going to Gotham. He becomes Batman. He's doing Batman stuff. He's saving the city. And while he's doing that, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Stuff's coming back. Oh, wait, he needs to stop this bigger criminal now, Scarecrow, who exposes Batman the fear toxin. Batman starts getting a taste of something he was familiar with. Now, that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Bruce getting exposed to the fear toxin. It sounds simple. It's like, oh, Batman starts feeling this familiar. He's like, oh, I've had this happen before. When I was training with the League of Shadows, those guys gave to use this flower, and I started imagining things, tripping on balls, whatever. In this story, it's sort of like what ends up happening is uh Bruce is sort of getting a taste of the familiarity, as in what would happen with me is I had a bad experience with a person. Maybe they made fun of me, or they were very mean to me, or I made a mistake and they really put me down for it. And I end up growing, moving away from that. But then it happens again. Now, Bruce knew what to do in this situation. I mean, obviously, it was two different circumstances, but I'm not going to go too much into that. But Bruce, when he experiences the fear toxin again, he's like, "Oh man, like I just got exposed of it again." I'm like, "Okay, I know what it is now. I'm gonna move ahead and know how to tackle it." Bruce puts it in his toolbox. Next time he meets Scarecrow, I flip your hand over. Boom! I expose you with the fear toxin. And that's when Bruce gets to know then of Roz. Oh my god, now bigger now all of a sudden another insecurity's coming up and stuff. Bruce is like, that guy's dead. I moved on from that part of my life. How on earth is it coming back again? Again, our insecurities. Something maybe, like it's from how I saw it, it was like, oh my god, like again, group of people that I didn't get along with or something. People were putting me down, whatever. Now I moved on. Now it's newer people putting me down or anything. But now I know what I need to do. I'm not going to put up with their shit. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm more prepared. I'm more ready. Again, a big way I was able to compare my life experiences sort of with the story of Batman Begins. And then from there, Bruce ended up uh what happens after that? Okay, yeah. Bruce exposes Crane with his own toxin, flees, he takes Rachel back to the Batcave, and who is his childhood friend. Again, we all often end up going back to our childhood friends and stuff, right? I mean, they end up becoming something a little more serious, but I'm going to talk more about my childhood friends who are just my friends, and how, I often end up coming back to them no matter where we are in life. And that's sort of what's happening in that story with Bruce and Rachel. And that could just be me. I mean, it's nothing really to overcomplicate. I mean, Bruce and Rachel are good childhood friends, and me and my friends are good childhood friends who, no matter what's happening in our lives, we still talk and we're still there for each other, whether we're on high highs or low lows. Anyways, moving past that, Bruce is then having a party. He's, celebrating his accomplishments. He's like, "Yeah, I'm taking over. I ran into this issue again. Not a big deal and stuff. You know what? I just gotta keep focusing and stuff. Make sure nothing else bad happens and all, right?" But everyone else is sort of telling you like, "Okay, just relax. Don't worry about it. Just focus. Focus on the other things. Like focus on your new friends, all that." But you're like, "No, I need to focus on myself right now." And then they're like, no, no, they're like, you need to, focus on like everyone else and stuff. You should start paying attention to them. You paid more enough attention to yourself now. Start paying attention to people more. Start taking care about people more. And that's sort of what happens. Bruce starts diverting that, and then when he's diverting that, who shows up at the party? And while Bruce is pleasing all the guests, who shows up at the party? The League of Shadows. And Bruce is like, oh shit. He's like, now you guys are at the core. And that's also what happens. Those people end up coming in to your life and they start, maybe it's their words that, their advice that they're telling you. It may not be right for you. It's sort of just being like, oh, Arjun, you should do this. Oh, you should do that and stuff, right? And that's maybe causing conflict in your home. That's what ends up happening to Bruce. They come into his home. They start burning it down. Bruce starts fighting them until uh, Bruce nearly dies, and the League leaves him to dead, and then leaves him to die. Sorry, and as Bruce is wait, why am I saying sorry? I don't have to apologize. It was a mistake, a blunder, blunder. Bruce is saved by Alfred, which is in our cases could be a good friend, could be a family member, could be ourselves in some cases, and then from there, what happens is that Bruce is must go after Roz and save the city. And now Bruce is doing it out of a different place in his heart. He's no longer going after Roz for complete vengeance. He needs to save the city. He's so focused on his goal, like we are. But it's like on our way focusing on this goal, we're going to overcome everything else around us. And that's sort of what happens. As the story continues, Bruce ends up fighting off Roz, which is, this big fight and everything. And usually with these movies, I'm not going to say every movie, but for a lot of them, by the final action scene and stuff, I sort of stop losing the thematically aspect of it and sort of pay attention to the cinematic experience, the epicness, the scale, whatever it is. But I think it's a great way to see it and all how really in summary Batman Begins is could be a analogy for our journey and evolution in life, and this can be compared with many other films. I'm only using Batman Begins as an example, but Batman Begins I think did it really really well, because at the end of the day that's what filmmaking is all about. I made a zombie film. I haven't lived in a zombie apocalypse. I haven't had to survive in the wilderness besides camping or something. But the themes, the subtext, what's under the script, I've written that according to my experiences. So again, we all have our own experiences in life, but you know, under these films, those a lot of these films, they are written by people who've had those same experiences or similar experiences, but now they're putting it on a medium. That's why I always say, like, we have seen every film, every story that's been made, but we haven't seen the story that's been told by you. Do the story, like I say, story, like make that story anyways. Even if you feel like it's been done 1,000 times, just make it. Because again, you haven't made it and stuff. And that's always the fun part about art. Art is always subjective that way. And I feel like people should watch more movies because movies opens your mind. And I mean, same with books, same with other aspects. And Batman Begins for me, why it's so big is because I was not introduced to this, uh, wide genre of drama films. When I was a kid, like I was just into superheroes. So Batman Begins was a big introduction for me to that. And to this day, it's one of my favorite movies. It's a film that holds up really well, in my opinion. And I absolutely love this, how I was able to connect those themes and those beats to my experiences in life and how I sort of, got a little inspired by the film, by how you just keep going for what's ahead of you. You keep going, you know what you're doing, you know what you need to do. Sometimes you're going to slip, sometimes you're going to trip, sometimes people are going to pull you down, they're going to throw you down, they're going to push you down, but you just got to keep going. And sometimes you're going to be rolling down the hill, you'll be rolling down the hill, you'll be climbing up a steep mountain, and sometimes you're going to be flying with the wind, and sometimes you're going to be like marching towards the wind, against the wind. And Batman Begins does it, and I think thousands of other films do it, but this was just my experience with Batman Begins. And I just wanted to talk about that a bit. And if you guys want to do anything, I'll say go watch Batman Begins. I think I said that in a few other in a few I think I said a few videos ago. Go watch Batman Begins tonight because I think I said something related to that. And I've been getting this incline to talk more about films, especially my connection with it. And yeah, in short, Batman Begins does a great job in showing how us as people, um, are always we as people can push through whatever comes our way, just like Bruce does in Batman Begins. We know what we need to do, what we must do, and what our purpose is. And no matter how many fallbacks we have, no matter how many times we fall, we always get up. Just like Thomas Wayne says, why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a different one today, but due to some stuff that's happening in my life, I've become a bit more busy nowadays. But I still enjoy making these videos, and I want to talk more about one of my favorite films. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you have seen it, haven't seen it, go watch it, rewatch it again. I love that film, and I think it's a film that a lot of people could learn a lot from. Have a great night, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.